So over the past few days, there's been an ongoing conversation about who's going to win league MVP. Of course, we're at the end of the regular season, so that's a topic of discussion. But as I've been watching these videos and these takes about who's going to win these in-season awards, I finally found the real problem with the MVP.
Joker and this is why, in addition to the advanced numbers, this is why he's ahead, and as you said, it has been the leader since Embiid went down. He started this regular season with an advantage.
Yes.
He started this regular season way out in front of everybody else for these reasons. One, everybody saw what he did in the finals and the playoffs. He averaged a triple-double in the playoffs. Secondly, a lot of people felt like he should have won last year. And that, race came into play and all of that. So people entered this season feeling like
he was owed one.
Luke, yeah, he's owed one. And in fact, if he wins it this year, he will start next season at a disadvantage. Because people feel like, okay, he's got three, we evened it out. That's just human nature. And then I do look at historical precedent and historical ramifications. Like you showed that. I think, unfortunately, we look back and say, Shaq's got one. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an embarrassment for us as voters. Like, how does Shaq only get one? How does Kobe only have one? Like, really? And I also think if someone takes the approach now, a voter, you know what? Best player in the league, period. And if it's Jokic for the next 6 years, he's getting it. That's not fair to Jordan. It's not fair to LeBron because they didn't get it. So
but don't you feel like people are trying to right or wrong when they do that?
Yeah, but this matters historically. So
I continue to be wrong?
No, it's not wrong because I don't think MVP is just best player in the world because then we wouldn't even have to play the game.
So that right there, and shout out to Chris Broussard, because when I saw that clip, I immediately, and there's other clips that are very similar to that, but when I saw that clip, I immediately thought to myself that the MVP award just doesn't matter. Respectfully, I don't care about it anymore. But what that now tells me, and it's something that we all have been alluding to over the past couple of years, and the real problem with the MVP is that today's players and what they have to do to win the MVP it's not only much more difficult because in today's league, everybody's putting up crazy numbers. It's really hard to differentiate when somebody's putting up, 30, 11, and 5, and another player's putting up 26, 12, and 9, and another player putting up 31, 5, and 5, and it's like there's so many players putting up so many great numbers that we can't overly depend on, this guy's averaging 35 points per game, and that's the reason why I'm voting for him because there's like 3 other players also averaging 30 to 33 points this season, right? It's not only more difficult from that standpoint because every single year there's going to be 2 to 3 players putting up historic numbers. So you have to compete against that. Then you have this conglomerate of voters who are voting with back in the day, this is how we used to vote and I'm going to stick with traditional numbers because I'm too stupid to even concept or contextualize what advanced analytics are. And then you have the new voters who are like, I'm going to do a bit more digging and I do realize that, hey, maybe one person averages, 10 assists and the other player averages 9 or 8 assists, but the guy who's averaging 8 assists is still technically a better passer, more influential, more impactful with his passing. The guy who's averaging 10 because, all these other metrics that I can utilize to my disposal as well as just watching the games and determining that he's more valuable. Even if his numbers may be slightly worse and he's also on the worst team, he's still more valuable than the other player because of XYZ reasons, right? So when you think about it, the precedence to what it's going to take to put people in conversations to win awards is much more steeper because people are going to look back in NBA history and see, look at what this player did, and now it's like you're messing up what's happening today. So the players in today, they have to compete with who they are this year and prior years in the playoffs, their peers, and also players that they never matched up with back in the 70s. Because now it's like, you're not supposed to win it because we didn't give it a Willis Reed back in the 70s, so you can't win it. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. Think about that for a second. And then back in the 60s and 70s, when these awards start coming around, they start handing them out, they didn't have that precedent, right? So when they were making the assessments of who should win the award, it was simply based off of who they genuinely thought was the most valuable, the best player, or someone who was the best rookie or the MVP or however they want to slice it. They genuinely felt that way. So when Jerry West won Finals MVP on a losing team in the finals, the voters came away with that saying, oh no, we actually believe, win or loss, he actually was the most valuable player on the floor. It doesn't really matter. Now there is this tone that is set in place as saying you can't win Finals MVP unless you won the finals, right? That's the only way that you can win Finals MVP. Imagine what you would have to do to break that mold. Imagine what you would have to do. And look at where we are right now with Wemby. Wemby, I mean, my goodness, the numbers that he's posting up from let's just say from a sheer defensive standpoint. And there's people who sitting here saying, oh no, he can't. No. No, he can't win DPOY. No. The brother is averaging more stocks than ever before. More blocks than Rudy Gobert has ever done in a season. He is impacting defense to the tune of when he's on the floor, they are a top 5 defense, and when he's off it, they're a bottom 5 defense. That's the type of impact that Wemby has. But because, we didn't give it to Tim Duncan, we didn't give it to Hakeem, we didn't do all that. Just imagine. And what's even concerning is there are more people who feel this way. I mean, just listen to some of the takes that I've heard recently about where players rank and some of these in-season awards from other people throughout the media.
Only one guy can win this award. And everything you've seen in Denver, he should have won it last year. The voters owe it to correct that. I know everyone's going to say you're getting on Embiid. I'm an Embiid guy, but we saw what happened once we got to the playoffs there.
But if I had to go to
positionless,
Anthony Edwards, if I had to go to Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander
over Brunson,
over Doncic,
and over Doncic,
yeah, that would be second team.
Whoa.
Yeah. Surprise team to me in basketball right now. They should be a number 6 seed without Julius Randle. But
Robinson missed most of
it. OG missed games. Brunson has been the best basketball player in the Eastern Conference by far.
But my New York Knicks are just one game behind the Milwaukee Bucks for the second overall seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs after beating them last night in Milwaukee.
I understand, Kenny, he's from New York, so I get it. There's biases towards that, right? Understand it. And also, let me be clear. What Brunson is doing this season is amazing. I have him on my All-NBA team. Go check out my last video on the Low Post where I break down all my awards. No doubt. Brunson has been amazing this season. But using standings when, I cannot reiterate this enough, brother. Using standings when the conferences are this lopsided, the third seed in the Eastern Conference, 49 wins, would be the 7th seed in the West. 7th. The third seed will be fighting to avoid a play-in spot right now if they were in the West. Using standings, and again, it's been crazy impressive what Brunson is doing. But to sit there and say that Brunson has been the best player in the Eastern Conference, or Brunson should be in MVP conversations because of standings, but then you sit here and knock out Luka Doncic in these conversations, in large part why? Because, Brunson's third and Luka's 5th, but he has more wins. He's in a much tougher conference. The standard of what it actually takes to be a top whatever seed in the West is much steeper than it is a top whatever seed in the East unless it's the number 1 seed. The reason why the conversation about MVP is so ridiculous on a year-to-year basis is because people go into these conversations every single year with a new narrative or a new reasoning to why someone can or cannot win the award. You got people sitting here claiming as if like Shai, from a statistical standpoint, is so much better than everybody else when he's not putting up great numbers. You can definitely argue he's exceeding expectations. So I understand that with Shai. I understand this concept that, Giannis is being overlooked. He plays defense. He's really the only player who's in the conversation playing defense. He's second seed, I understand it as well. Personally, I believe that Luka should win the award. The numbers that he's posting up is ridiculous, and if the reason why y'all don't give him the award is solely, and despite the fact that he's like literally basically averaging a 30-point triple-double, he is 0.8 and 0.2 rebounds and assists away from averaging a triple-double. And if we're saying that we're not going to give him the award because of that, I think that's ridiculous, and I think it's telling. But furthermore, I think it's the problem with this award. Why it's the problem when it comes to All-NBA, All-Defensive Team selections. Even though, yes, there is no definitive identity or definitive definition of what it means to be the MVP or what it means to be All-NBA, the thing that concerns me is that every single year, sometimes the same voters, and to be fair to some of the newer voters, some of these voters weren't voting back in 07, right? Taylor Rooks, Shams, Wendy, Vincent, I think Vincent Goodwin or Goodwill, please forgive me, brother. The gentleman out in Yahoo, they're all about my age and maybe like 4 or 5 years older. We couldn't have been voting in 07, right? They couldn't have been voting in 07. They were like still in high school or middle school in 07. So there's no way they were voting. So to be fair to some of the younger voters, they weren't voting then. But this idea that we have to, winning matters, we have to continue to vote for winning, I don't think that people should have to. Like in that Chris Broussard clip.
People are trying to right it wrong when they do that.
Yeah, but this matters historically. So
I continue to be wrong.
Bro, some people are not, it's not necessarily we're trying to correct the wrong, it's just that we acknowledge that maybe the way that you all were viewing basketball back in the day was just incorrect. If I was a voter, I would have voted for Kobe to win MVP, or definitely would have given him at least second vote back in 06. But I'm not now going to come into the MVP booth and then sit here and cast my ballot based off of what happened in 06. That was them. That was them who couldn't put into proper context how valuable someone is. So now I should not now come into what we're talking about right now and hold the same precedent to everybody across league history when back in the 80s and 90s, they really couldn't even watch basketball back then. So that's the reason why they valued winning so much. So back in the 2000s, they weren't sitting there watching basketball. They didn't have the metrics and understandings of what it actually meant to be valuable. Or you want to sit here and give Chauncey Billups just as many MVP votes as Kobe Bryant. And yes, that is true. Kobe in 2006, when he averaged 35 points, had 483 MVP points. Chauncey Billups had 430. Kobe was closer to Chauncey Billups than he was anybody else in the race above him. That's crazy. Chauncey Billups that year finished with 15 first place votes. That's crazy. And to be fair, again, some of these people understood the value of Kobe. 22 people voted for Kobe to win league MVP this season. So there were certainly some people who thought, hey man, come on, you be playing with Kwame Brown and Smush Parker. So of course I'm going to give it to him, right? And I believe those people were right. And so because of that, and because of what happened to Kobe, and because of what happened to so many other players throughout NBA history who weren't going to receive certain votes, or because, hey, I'm not going to give you a vote because back in the day, we only gave Kobe one, we only gave Shaq one, but so how are we going to look like if we give you 3 or 4? Only Magic and Kareem and Bird and Matt and Michael and LeBron got 4. How are you going to receive 4? Because they got to do that, now we're sitting here pulling back what people accomplish on a year-to-year basis. Oh man, we messed up last year, man. Oh man, I know everybody was telling us that we were wrong. We really screwed the pooch that last year, man. Oh man, we really messed up. We gave Joel Embiid the MVP over Jokic. We gotta correct our wrong. We gotta give it to him now. So now you're going to fuck somebody else over because you fucked up last year and everybody was telling you was fucking up in the process, but you were so concerned about not giving the award to Jokic because you didn't want to give him 3 in a row because you didn't do the same thing to Giannis, Jordan, and LeBron. Hey, that ain't that nigga's fault. Because these niggas back in the day were dumb and they didn't want to just keep giving it to Magic and Michael and LeBron, even though they should have. We all know sitting here not giving this nigga Shaq unanimous MVP because you want to run a hypothetical about taking Allen Iverson off the 76ers, and that's the reason why. We know that was stupid. We know it was dumb when the voters like, Carmelo Anthony with the Knicks, I don't know, LeBron in 2013, I don't know, pick Bron, we know that was stupid. We openly talk about how stupid that is. But now we got to sit here and act like, man, it is what it is, man. Let's just continue to make dumb decisions for the remainder of our days. But at least back then, I can give them a break. You know, in the 90s, 1990, how many people actually could watch 76ers games, right? How many people could actually watch Utah Jazz games, right? So I get that. But some of you media member niggas, you come on TV every day talking about basketball. You want me to believe that you watch this shit daily, and yet you then go in the voting booth and you come out with those results. You let Kendrick Perkins talk you into what? Huh? Look, man, I'm a believer. Just do what's right. Pick the player you think actually deserve it. It's a year-to-year basis. What somebody does this year should not be impacted by what happened 20 years ago. What somebody's doing this year should not be impacted on what somebody did in the postseason or what they may be lacking in a postseason run. What somebody is doing this year should stand alone because that's what the award is for. If that's not the case, moving forward, people are going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, and it's going to continue to land us with terrible decisions. But yo, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.